Hi guys and welcome back to Love What Luck. I'm so excited. It's been 3 and nearly 4 months since I've recorded. I basically took a little sabbatical. I left you all in the lurch and I'm sorry. But I am back finally and it feels so good. I'm so excited to be back. I knew I needed to take some time off, but I really didn't realise how much I needed it until now. You know, coming back and feeling so creative, so happy, excited. I've just got my zest for life back, you know? And I was like, there she is. It made me realise that sometimes you really have got to listen to your body and take a break. I think we're all a little bit guilty sometimes of staying in certain situations or, you know, relationships, jobs, wherever it might be, places that might no longer serve you. And you know that something's got to give. But sometimes I think that stepping away from something or like quitting or, you know, taking a break can feel like such a failure. And that's why we tend to stay in jobs, relationships, places, maybe a little bit longer than necessary, because I think you sometimes just really don't want to give up. Like when I made the decision to take a little break, I literally felt like such a failure. I was just like, I can't give up. Like, what am I doing? Why can't I make this work? Why am I feeling the way I am? And it was just like such a massive decision. I just felt like such a letdown. But I spoke to my therapist about it, and she said, doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different outcome is literally the method to madness. And I was like, do you know what? You're so true. Something's got to give. Something's got to change. Like the jig was up. So this is your sign. If you're listening to this and you're feeling a little bit down or a little bit stuck or you've just like lost your joy or your drive for something, then this is your sign to listen to your body, because as I always say, it never lets you down. So anyway, we are back. If you're an OG, then welcome back. Thank you for not forgetting about me. And if you're a day one, then welcome to the gang. You've joined at a really good time. You might have noticed that I am in a different space. I'm in a studio, finally. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know this has been such a long-term goal for me. And I think I was kind of waiting for a moment to justify being in a studio, or kind of like waiting for something to happen, you know, or for it to just happen to me. And then when I came back, I was like, no, sometimes you've got to just make the moment yourself. So here I am. It's not going to be my forever home, but it feels so good to have a little space, a little Love What Luck HQ. Honestly though, after about 2 months, I was like, oh my God, I miss this. I miss my girls, I miss the stories, I miss the laughs, I miss all sharing, I miss it all. And I've been so excited to come back. And I really, really want to make this feel more connected. Like when I go through an issue, especially like a breakup or any kind of life drama, the thing that I find best is talking about it over and over again to my friends, and they do the same thing obviously with me, and I just think that's the best thing to do. It's the only way to cure the problem, and I would just love to have that feel with a little Love What Luck girlies. I know that sharing the stories really helps other people on you, so yeah, that's one of my biggest goals coming back, is to just get everybody involved. You can comment on Spotify, so make sure to follow me on there. Obviously comment on YouTube. You can send me a DM. I'm at Sadie Maltby at Love What Luck, or you can send me an email. I'm Sadie at lovewhatluck.com. Also, if you are watching on YouTube or on Spotify, I just have to preface and say, I know that my hair is a bit crazy at the minute. It is so hot. I can feel it getting bigger and curlier by the second. I just have to say that I know. I don't know if you do that, but no, like if I know that there's something wrong with me, I will literally say to the person straight away, like, oh my God, sorry, I know I look a mess. Because I thought, God forbid you can see what I can see and you don't think I'm aware of it. I am aware of it. So let me just say that. Right, I think that's everything covered. Let's go into this week's story. It's been so long since I've said that. You have no idea how good it is to say it again. Okay, so this message is actually off one of you guys. And she says, I've just been ghosted after 10 months of a serious relationship. My keys were returned in the post. I still don't know why he didn't say anything, just sent the keys with no note inside in a tatty, reused envelope. I actually find it quite funny what a spineless coward he is. I truly do not understand ghosting. After a first date is probably the only time where I will allow it. And it's still rude, but I think at some point in our lives, we've all probably done it. You've been on one date, you don't really vibe, and, you know, that's kind of that. To ghost a relationship, you've got psychopathic tendencies, I'm sorry. How can you have a 10-month relationship with somebody? That is enough time to bloody get married. It's enough time to properly be intertwined in somebody's life. How can you just switch off, not give them any explanation, and completely cut yourselves out of their life? Like, it just blows my mind how people can operate on that level and be so inconsiderate. And also, sir, what do you think is going to happen? What is the worst situation that is going to happen out of that? Is your ego so big that you think, I'm going to fall to my knees and beg you to stay? Like, is that what you're worried about? Because rest assured, that won't be the case. 9 times out of 10, you go to break up with somebody, they might be upset, but they say, okay. I'm glad she's laughing, because it does show somebody as just like, you almost get the ick by them. Like, they cannot handle any emotions, they're cowardly. And also, you're too insecure to be able to deal with somebody's feelings. Like, I've actually listened to a few podcasts, right? I can't remember which ones, because I love self-help podcasts and stuff. But I saw somebody say the confidence is basically being sure that you can handle whatever's thrown at you. And I think that is so true, because to be truly confident when you go for something, it's not so much that you fear failure. If you're confident enough, it's about knowing that failure might happen, but I can handle that. It's the same, like a confident person would ask somebody out because they know that if that person says no, you're confident enough to know I can deal with that because I'm sure of myself and I'm confident in myself. So for somebody to not be able to handle that situation, it shows they're not confident. I think we need to spin it, the narrative of like a ghoster is this. I mean, they are obviously horrible people. But I think sometimes they've had the thing of like, oh my God, horrible and thoughtless. No, actually, you're an insecure little piece of vermin. I actually don't fully know what vermin is, but it sounds right. I think it might be something to do with rats. I don't know, but that feels like the right insult. So yeah, before I started recording, I asked for some stories on Instagram, and one of you guys responded, actually really made me laugh, saying, I was just like, what have you been up to? What stories have you got? Come and fill me in. And one of you guys was like, I think we need to hear what you've been up to. And I was like, do you know what? So fair. So yeah, guys, it has been a while. What's new? I finished therapy. I had another therapist for a little bit, and then I went straight into this therapist, right? So overall, I've been seeing a woman every week pretty much with, a couple of weeks off here and there for holidays for the last 18 months. Like, I just felt like I was in quite a good place, and I felt like I was okay to stop. So stay tuned for that, but that's a pretty big deal for me. I'm not going to stop forever. I live, laugh, love therapy, so I'm always going to preach in for everyone. But I've stopped that. I stopped laser. Guys, if you've been listening to the episodes, you will know that I found laser truly traumatic from start to finish. Every session I went to was absolute torment for various different reasons. Every time I went in, I had a different woman. They would treat me differently. I just couldn't deal with it. From the first time where that girl told me to turn around and spread my bum cheeks, I was locked into the trauma from then, truly. I've been touched. Nobody talks about how traumatic laser is. I hated every single second of it. That was going on for over a year. I've finally finished. Is it worth it? Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, I will do it again, because there is a myth. I thought you get laser, you never get it again. No, I don't think that's true. But anyway, I finished it. I feel like what you all really want to know is dating stories, obviously. So what I will say is I haven't had a very single summer, and that is all I'm going to say for now, which I know is annoying, but that's where we're at, guys. But look, this is only episode 1. We've got plenty of time to catch up, and I'm sure all of the stories will come out. over the coming weeks. Summer is officially over, at least on social media. Social media said summer is over before August even ended. Social media literally said, you've had a nice summer, it's fucking autumn and you better get used to it. I'm going to shove this pumpkin spice latte and brown clothing down your throat until you accept it. And I did try and claw on for summer for a long time, but I've had to admit defeat. But all I'm going to say is, to those autumn lovers, okay, I love autumn as well, don't get me wrong. But all I'm going to say is, you wishing for those cozy evenings, we're going to be in darkness until March. I went to TK Maxx in July and there was Halloween stuff out. I just thought, no. Like, can we just live in the present moment, please? I mean, this now is beginning of September. I do admit defeat, but I'm just not ready for it's the darker nights for me. The darker nights kill me off. The darker mornings also kill me off, but I can deal. I can deal. The darker nights, the getting dark, from 3 o'clock, that truly just makes me plummet into a seasonal winter depression. So yeah, for all those that were ramming it down our throats in July, just think carefully what you wish for when we're in the depths of winter. Actually, to be fair, the season change from summer into autumn is probably the only one that doesn't make me anxious. I feel like it's so weird. This is what like living with anxiety is like, but I feel like when winter comes, and I'm not talking Christmas, the run up into Christmas is a joy, yeah, I love Christmas, but January to March being winter is hell on earth if you're in the UK, like there's no getting out of it. I think we all agree, it's just absolute torture. So that makes me anxious because I know how miserable it's going to be. Spring doesn't make me anxious because it's like finally the light. And then I get anxiety when it goes into the summer in case I haven't got enough plans. And I'm like, oh my God, it's summertime. And you just suddenly feel exposed. And I feel like in the summertime, I need to be out all day, every day, tits out, legs out. I need to be, on a boat. I need to be drinking rosé in the sunshine. And when I haven't got anything booked, that does give me anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, what if I'm not fulfilling my summer's dream? So I always get a little bit of anxiety for that. Not that I've never lived out summer since the day I was born. I'm talking like I never go on holidays. That's not the case. But yeah, that stresses me out. However, the season into autumn, I do like. It kind of just feels like back to school vibes, getting ready. It's basically, I saw somebody say that September is a girl's new year. And I thought that is so true. There's something about September reset that I just absolutely love. So yeah, I'm feeling okay so far. But maybe I will be giving my therapist a call again when like November comes, when we're fully back into winter. Okay, guys, I want to try out a new little segment. I am going to do this at the end of every solo episode, okay? And I need us all to get involved with this. It is going to require your GCSE drama skills. It's going to require you to, really lock into a situation and let me know how you would feel in these situations. It is called All In or Fold. And I'm going to read 3 scenarios to us every week. And we're going to decide if we'd go all in and carry on or if we fold in and we're out. Okay? So here we go. Let's lock in. Let's close our eyes if we need to. Picture the scene. You've been dating somebody for a month. Everything's going good. They text you every morning. They're planning the cute dates, getting to know you, remembering the little things about you. Everything is going well and you're excited. However, they still live with their ex. They said it's just until the lease is up. There's no feelings there. They are literally just roommates. Are you all in? Or you folding? For me, I'm folding. I'm sorry, I'm absolutely out at that. I just know myself and I just know that I wouldn't be able to handle that. Like, there's just no way. I can't be having a good morning text from you and thinking, are you sending that whilst you're laying next to your ex? Because what's the sleeping arrangements? Most people live in 1-bed flats. Am I to believe that you're on the settee now for 2-3 months until your lease runs out? Because I don't know if that washes with me. I wouldn't want to be on the settee for that long. Have you not got a single friend or family member that you could live with? Or do you know what? It's bad because I actually met a girl before who was going on a date and she was saying, oh, but I still live with my ex. And, she was obviously going on a date. And it happens, especially when you live in the city. I get it. But for me, it's just a no. I wouldn't do it myself. Like, if I was still living with my ex, I just wouldn't even bother going on a date and dating someone and then have to say that. Also, that means I can never go to yours. And if I'm going to be serious about somebody, I need to see how you operate at home. I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of OCD, and I'm going to need to see how clean you are. I cannot marry somebody unless they have at least, like, I was going to say base level, but truly it's not. This might be silly to some, but I just can't ever imagine me being in a marriage with somebody when, years down the line, when every little thing they do grates on you. I just can't imagine being truly happy with somebody who's like very messy and doesn't clean up after themselves and is dirty. I just think it would really, really weigh me down. And that's just my honest opinion, and that's just my path. So a whole month without knowing, like, you could have deep dark secrets, at home. I don't know. You could have a sex swing. Like, there's some things that we're just going to need to veto your house. I also think it's a red flag because I remember we've probably had loads of stories, to be fair, but I definitely remember one where this woman was in a full-blown relationship with this guy, and he was divorced but not separated. No. He was divorced. No. He was separated but not divorced. So, they weren't together, but the divorce hadn't gone through and they were still living together. And she was like, fine, she, went along with it wherever. No, he was still in a full-blown relationship with his wife. They were still married because they were still in love. Like, he was just having an affair. And unfortunately, you just can't help but be the cynic and think that there might still be feelings involved. Also, when you're going through a breakup, your emotions are so raw for such a long time. And if somebody is still living with their ex, you've got to think that it can't have been that long since they broke up. And surely they're not going to appreciate you coming back the next day. Like, imagine you've just broken up, right, with somebody that you obviously were living with and you thought you were spending your life with them. You break up, and then like 3 weeks later, all of a sudden, they're going out for the night, they're coming home the next day. You're obviously going to know they're dating somebody, and I just don't think there's any way to do that. So that's a strong no from me. Please come and let us know in the comments, or send me a little DM if you've got any experience of this. Has this ever happened to you? I mean, come and prove me wrong. I'm happy to be proven wrong if this has happened to you. But yeah, come and let us know your thoughts. Okay. Number 2. I will try to go quicker on these. Number 2. Let's log in. You've been on 4 great dates. The vibes are amazing. You've been really enjoying yourself. And then during a dinner one night, they say to you that they don't believe in therapy because they don't think talking about your feelings does anything. Are you all in or fold? This is a tricky one because it doesn't matter to me if somebody I'm dating's never been to therapy at all, or if they don't believe in therapy even. I don't know how you can't believe in therapy if you've never tried it though. But not talking about your feelings, that's an issue. If you're with somebody that can never talk about how they feel, then that's just never going to work, in my opinion, because are you ever going to know what they're going through, if what you can help them with, what you were doing that is bad? That's like somebody, that I think would like rather break up than talk about a situation. That's just a big red flag to me. Also, if you can't express yourself to somebody, then you cannot stay. What's that? It's an Ariana Grande song. At the end, she has her nonna doing the voice, and she says something like, if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel comfortable, then get out. Like, it's the wrong situation. And it's so true. If you can't tell your partner that, you're feeling insecure, or you're feeling basically anything that makes you vulnerable, or anything that makes you feel like, oh God, this might not be attractive, then you cannot be with them. So I think I'd have to fold. I think I would have to fold. I'm just seeing a lot of red flags there. Okay, last one. You're dating somebody, it's going really well. You've just had the exclusive talk, okay? So you're just pre-relationship, but it's getting pretty serious and it's moving that way. And all of a sudden, your ex texts you. Hey, how are you? Been thinking about you. This ex is somebody that, you know, you felt like was the love of your life. You really just thought that they were going to be a person. Are you all in with your current relationship, or are you folding and going back to your ex? Obviously, this is very, very situational. However, I do have to say, and it is a bit old school, but if you are not over your ex, I'm not sure you should be getting into a serious relationship with somebody else. You know, if you were willing to throw the relationship away for your ex, then you shouldn't be in that relationship for starters. So, I mean, I would be all in with a new person, because I'd like to think that, you know, now, maybe not me previously, but now, I would like to think that, you know, I wouldn't be in a serious situation with somebody if I wasn't all in. You know, I'd like to think that if I was ready to be in another relationship with somebody, then that's because it's absolutely the right special thing. Not like getting into a relationship for the sake of it and breaking up. Like, if you can break up with them after, hey, have you been text from your ex, then it's obviously not a big deal for you as like that relationship. It obviously isn't really what you're looking for. And you shouldn't put the other person through that. But having said that, there are plenty of love stories where that occurs. You know, one of my favourite ones that I said before was about the guy that invented Hinge. And, you know, he was just always in love with his ex. And that's why, was it Hinge? Or was it? No, yeah, it was Hinge. He was always in love with his ex. And that's why he invented the dating app, so he could meet somebody else. Like, and per his criteria, he basically wanted to meet somebody else like her. And, you know, dated loads of people, didn't meet them, and then ended up ringing his ex and being like, I have to have you back. And she was engaged to be married, and she still left her fiance for her ex. And then they got together and they got married. And that is wild. But like, when you hear the story and when you watch the story, because it's called Modern Love, and when they actually do the story on the TV show, you are actually rooting for him. It's really weird, because I do, you know, I am a romantic at heart, and I do feel like sometimes if two people are meant to be together, then they should be together. But it's a tricky one. But I'm folding on my ex. You have to. I have to say that, because, you know, it's the right thing to do, and we would set examples. Oh, guys, during my break, I had to have an emergency root canal. It was completely unexpected. I had horrendous toothache. I was going to say toothache then. I had horrendous toothache. And basically, because I would clench my jaw so much in my sleep, and like throughout the day I could feel doing it. I got into like a really bad habit with it, like when I was stressed or anxious or whatever. I pushed my filling down so deep that it ended up touching a nerve. And it just like, oh my God, it was next level painful. And I literally had to go in that same day to get it sorted, right? Worst experience of my life, by the way. I was in so much pain that she had to really dose me up on the, all I want to say is antiseptic. And I know it's not antiseptic. No, I'm like antihistamines, antibiotics, anesthetic. Jesus Christ. Anesthetic. So she had to dose me up on the anesthetic. Is it? Yeah, but it didn't put me to sleep, like. She had to dose me up on the anesthetics, and she had to put so much in because it was still so painful that I had a complete attack, is the only way I could call it. My eyelids started to blink at the speed, like I literally felt like I was in a superhero film. It was so bizarre. Basically what happened, I bolted like that, and she went, oh, are you okay? Are you feeling like that's adrenaline? That's just adrenaline going through your body. My blinking was like three a second, it felt like. I said, oh my God, I feel really weird. I grabbed her hand. The poor woman was, I would say, 8 months pregnant. and I hadn't addressed it. When she came in the room, I obviously noticed, but I didn't address it because obviously I didn't want to be straight away, oh, you're pregnant. I wanted her to have an identity outside of the pregnancy. Also, I could barely talk because I was in so much pain. Anyway, literally was like, I'm panicking. It made, when you have like an anxiety attack, obviously your heart rate goes fast. So I think my brain was just like associating it with that. And I was in the dentist. I was crying, basically. I cried straight away. I was like, oh my God, I'm panicking. I grabbed her hand. I was like, oh my God, you're pregnant, aren't you? I'm so sorry. Like, that's so bad. It's like this poor woman's coming to work and now she's trying to deal with me. So basically it ended up, I had to go and sit on the pavement outside. I was in tears. I was by myself. I FaceTimed my mother. I was crying. I was on the floor. I was like, I cannot cope with what's happening to me. So overall, right, I had the worst experience, genuinely one of the worst experiences of my life. Anyway, I get it done. I come out. My mouth is actually physically bruised. It's out here. I literally look like Quagmire, just on the one side. So I've had a really bad time. I come out to the dentist and there's a homeless man outside Sainsbury's. I had to go in Sainsbury's to get paracetamol. So anyway, I saw this guy and I was like, right, I have to ask this guy if he wants anything from the shop. Obviously, wanting to buy him food, yeah? The man sat outside Sainsbury's. He hasn't got a single thing. So I said, look, I haven't got cash, but, can I buy you some food? He said to me, oh, do you know what I really want, love? Not a tooth in his mouth, by the way. Do you know what I really want, love? Just a pack of fags. I was like, why? Because every experience I have with somebody who is out on the street, every time, like, if something goes wrong. I bought somebody a cheese sandwich before. He said he didn't want it. He gave it back to me. I got caught before in a shop doing a full supermarket shop. I've probably said the story. I did a full supermarket shop for somebody before. She wanted a bag of potatoes and a Swede, specifically a Swede, right? So I bought those, loads of snacks. I came out with 2 bags full and she had gone and I had to carry them all the way home. 2 bags of shopping that I didn't need or want, including a Swede, which I'd never, ever cooked before, and, a bag of potatoes. Anyway, I was just like, why? I went in the shop, £15 a pack of cigarettes is now, by the way. Outrageous. I felt so, obviously I had to get them. I mean, that like wasn't a question in my mind. Like, he'd asked me something, how could I tell this man no? I just felt so embarrassed coming out of the shop. I just felt like such an enabler. People watching me in the car, they thought, oh my God, like, why are you enabling this man with worse things? But I just kind of was thinking, that's what he really wanted. And, who am I to tell him no and not give him a good afternoon? So I passed him over and I just said, like, you really shouldn't be doing this though. You shouldn't be smoking. I just thought, like, if I say that might be better. He was like, oh, I know, love, but thank you so much. I was like, is that a good deed or not? I don't know. But, actually, when I was in my was I even 20? I think, like, when I was literally 20, maybe 21, me and Amelia went out and we were absolutely steaming because it was the era where, like, you had to pre-drink, obviously, before you went out because you didn't have money. So we bought a bottle of vodka. Actually, we bought vodka and apple juice, and I was so hungover the next day that I could never, ever drink vodka and apple juice again, even to this day. And that's, like, over 10 years ago. Anyway, so we had the little bottle of vodka out, and as we ran our way out, this guy who was there was also on the streets, and we gave him the vodka. There wasn't a thought in my brain if that was the wrong thing to do then. I was young and carefree and pissed. He's like, oh my God, girls, this is the best thing ever. We were having pictures with him. We drank with him. And then quit to me 10 years later being like, you shouldn't be doing this. Like, that just shows the evolution of aging, guys. You do become more serious and more considerate. Although I still did it, obviously. Okay, and then to finish off, I've got a question from one of you guys, and she says, why do all men I date want a relationship but no commitment? This is a classic, and it's basically somebody that wants all the benefits of being with you but doesn't want to put any of the work in. They're happy taking all the pros that come with being in a relationship with you. You being there whenever they want, somebody to talk to, somebody to see. But when it comes to reciprocating that, they're not ready for it. They're not ready for any of the actual work. And unfortunately, I think this translates to either they're just not that into you, which is sometimes the truth, or they are just not ready for a relationship at that time. And it does not matter who you are, what you do. If they are not ready, not just a man, like anyone, if you are not ready for a relationship, you're just not going to be able to give your all to it. And I wish more people were honest about that before getting into a relationship. It's like, hi, I really want you to feel like my girlfriend, but I don't actually want you to be it. But I still want you to do every single thing that a girlfriend would do. Do you know I had Emily Mendham on? One of my last episodes before my break. Sounds so, I realised at the start of the episode sounded so dramatic. But she does a Substack and it's so, so good, guys. And she said I think it was it was the first ever Substack of hers that I read. And I literally asked her to come on the podcast after it, because she said that that's what happened to her. She was literally with somebody as if they were boyfriend and girlfriend. And then they were lying in bed and he was like, oh, I just need to let you know I'm not ready for a relationship. And she says, like, whilst doing everything that a boyfriend would do. You know, like, you're over each other's houses, you're spending all weekend with each other. It's just crazy. But the best thing you can do when somebody tells you that they're not ready for a relationship or that they don't want to commit, is to walk away. Because you cannot stay in that situation and leave yourself vulnerable to being hurt. Like, if you want the same thing and you only want something casual, fine. But if you want something serious and they don't, then the best thing to do is walk away. Like, it will save you, so much hurt. But I shared this example on Instagram, and hopefully she doesn't mind me calling her by her name, but Melanie, shout out to Melanie, told me about this dating method, right? And it was so, so good. So I was like, right, I have to share this on the episode with you all. It's one of the best dating methods I've ever heard, right? And it's called Burned Haystack. And it was invented by somebody, it was founded by Jenny Young. It's called the Burned Haystack dating method. And it's a dating app strategy that encourages users to aggressively block and eliminate potential matches who don't meet strict criteria to reduce noise and find a compatible partner more efficiently. There's literally a Facebook group, guys. And I mean, I didn't join the Facebook group, but if anybody's in it, come and let us know what it's about. But I think there's like a Facebook group where like girls chat about experiences and, what they've done and stuff, I think. But basically what it means is if you really want to get married and you're 100% set on that, and you go on a dating app and they are just looking for a relationship, or they're not looking for anything serious, you don't even just swipe them away, you literally block them. And it means that, your pool gets smaller, but at least there'll be a pool of people that actually want the same things as you. So you don't waste any time with anybody else, and they don't trickle into your reality. Because I think we've all done it, where like you really want to see this relationship, you look at somebody and they are like, what's the Hinge prompt? Short-term or long-term relationship, like either one they're looking for. And, which doesn't even make sense. Oh, no, what is it? Long-term open to short, which doesn't even make sense. And, you're still looking on their profile and you think, oh, but they are quite hot, or, oh, and they've got a dog, or, oh, and they only live 10 minutes away. And sometimes you can let them creep still in. You think, well, I'll just talk to him. And then you chat to them and they're like, oh, actually, he's really funny. And you can start to like lose, some of your walls. You can start to like batten down your criteria. But eventually it's going to come down to it, and you are going to want that serious relationship, or, to get married or whatever. And he's going to say, oh, well, I'm just not ready. And I told you that. Like, I had that on my profile. And it just basically stops you from wasting any time. So she calls it burning the haystack, because she said finding a relationship is like finding a needle in a haystack. And how would you do that? You would burn the hay. You're burning all the bullshit around it, waiting to find your needle. And I just think it was so good. And it just makes so much sense. Also, I feel like sometimes you can date somebody and they can tell you a lie. They can literally feed it to you. They can say, like, even if they say, oh, I'm not ready yet, but like, yeah, one day I want to get married. Or they say like, yeah, I do really want a girlfriend. And then all of a sudden you've been dating for 3 months and they say, oh, I'm still not ready though. But they can still like feed you a lie, basically, like just to keep you there. And by blocking these people, by blocking them, I think it sends a message to them that, like, collectively, if everybody did it, if everybody followed this method, it's basically like saying, we're not going to put up with this bullshit. Like, you can't get away with it. And if you don't want the same thing that I want in terms of, like, serious relationship, marriage, or the opposite, like, if you really do never want to get married, and it's basically saying that by blocking them, you can't have any access to me. Like, I'm not putting up with this bullshit, and you can't have any of me because it's not aligning with what I want. And I just thought that was amazing. So if you're on a dating app and you've got a very clear dating goal, look on the profiles, and if they are not aligning, block them. Actually, there's this girl on TikTok, I'm sure her account is called Faye's Found Love, and she did the same thing. So she was single for a while, really wanted a relationship. Like, her videos used to pop up as she was getting ready to go on dates and stuff. And she's with somebody now and she's super happy. But I remember her saying a similar thing where she really wanted a serious relationship and to get married. So on Hinge, I think you might have to pay for it, because she was like, even paying for it just shows that you're serious. And you can basically, like, filter out anybody that doesn't want the same thing as you. So she was then only going on dates with people that did want a serious relationship and did want to get married. And then obviously she's found somebody, and that's like what they're working towards. It seems so simple, but ain't nobody blocking people on dating apps. It's the same as, like, when you go on dates with somebody and they're still on your Instagram. Like, they're still there, you know? They're still seeing what you're up to. You know, they're still swiping up to you, creeping into your DMs. And you could be in a situation where you've broken up with somebody, right? Say you were dating somebody and you wanted something serious and they didn't. And you've said, right, okay, I'm walking away. But if you haven't actually blocked them, 3 months could pass, even a year could pass, right? And you're single again at that time, and it might not be like, oh, and you felt lonely. It might be that you're feeling really good. Like, you're feeling really good, you're having a really good year, and then that person DMs you, and you're like, oh my God, you get excited again. You think, oh, well, that's all right. We've broken up once before, and I'm fine now. So, yeah, why don't we see him? I'm by myself otherwise anyway. I'm not dating anyone. Why don't I see him? And then they still get away with it because they still having access to you. They still seeing you, even though they're not after what you want. And I'm sorry, they don't deserve that. So, yeah, what I'm saying to you is block them on everything. Anybody you're not interested in anymore, block them. Like, why are you still here? I don't need you here. I love it. I think that's a really good attitude to go into the girls' new year. So, yeah, guys, I think I will wrap it up there. It feels so good to be back. Please, as I said, send your stories. Tell me what you've been up to. Even if it's just that you went on, like, a bad date, wherever it may be, please come and chat to us. I'm Sadie@loveoutluck.com if you want to send me an email. Or you can just send me a little DM. I'm at Sadie Maltby and at loveoutluck. And please make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, leave me a little review. Also, thank you so much to everybody that messaged me over the break. Like, when you step away from something like this, especially when it's so saturated, it's a real risk that people are going to forget you, honestly. And don't get me wrong, I lost a number of followers. So, the risk is real, but what's most important to me is that some of you have messaged me, lots of you were checking in, like, especially at the start. I think lots of you might have been worried that I was having a mental breakdown, which probably wasn't far off the truth. But yeah, that just means the most to me. And, like, for you guys saying that you missed the podcast and you've been excited for it to come back and stuff, that just means more to me than anything. And it's just, yeah, it's so nice, and I'm so grateful for that. So, yeah, thank you for everyone that checked in. And look at us, guys. We're back. It just shows that, sometimes you take a little break and you take care of yourself, and it actually works. So, yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll speak to you next Tuesday.